Hi there, this is Gist Nigeria. Coming up, political participation. We explore implications of recent judgments on Nigeria's national gender policy. Also,
good afternoon.
Corporal punishment. Experts caution against smacking toddlers as cases continue to rise in Nigeria. Plus, Silent Town. A Ghanaian community ravaged by hereditary hearing impairment. And
my name is Anita Okanigbejan. Check me out.
The advocate using a platform to empower victims of child sexual abuse. Welcome to Gist Nigeria from the BBC and Channels Television. And on the program, we look at stories making the rounds on social media. I am Wali Fakile. Now, if you are a woman in Nigeria, our lead story today will make you smile. A recent court ruling has ordered the Nigerian government to implement the national gender policy, which provides that 35% of all appointments in public positions be allocated to women. For years, women have asked that this policy be implemented, but not much was achieved. In this story, Gist Nigeria's Aneta Felix talks to stakeholders to understand if this judgment will change the game.
History has just been made. Gender activists celebrate this court's judgment.
The government cannot make any appointment into any office without giving women the rights as contained in the National Gender Policy Act.
After months of litigation, Justice Donatus Okorowo orders the federal government to appoint 35% women into public offices.
This literally means that as the judgment is historical and important, more women will now be playing more active roles as appointees of government. Where you used to have all men in a board, what it means is that there will be minimum of 3 women, for example, in a board that is made up of 10.
The basis for the lawsuit is the National Gender Policy of 2006. It's all formed to guarantee rights and participation of women in national development. The policy aims to increase women participation in politics and increase the number of women in elective positions. The national gender policy would be implemented by providing financial incentives and other waivers to encourage women to participate in politics. It also seeks to eradicate all discriminatory policies against women's participation in politics and implement affirmative action. What these all mean is that 35% of political posts would be reserved for women. But the national gender policy is not the first strategy on gender mainstreaming. In the year 2000, Nigeria adopted and passed the National Policy on Women into law. But the prevailing gender imbalance in politics prompted another policy in 2006 and a revised policy in 2022. So the bone of contention proved to be action, not policies.
So what we're going to do now is to enlighten our women, let them get to know that there is this judgment and there is need to do it to get it implemented. So we are going to encourage more women to go into politics. We're going to encourage more women to be more active in the politics of this country. And also, of course, we're going to encourage women to also support women who desire to go into political offices.
In recent political history, former President Goodluck Jonathan has been the most acclaimed for including a sizable number of women in his cabinet. He appointed 12 female ministers out of 33, including Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala as Minister of Finance and Desiani Alison Madueke as Minister of Petroleum. But there has been a decline in the number of female appointees during President Muhammadu Buhari's administration. Only 6 out of 31 ministries in his first tenure were headed by women. And in his second term in office, only 6 ministries are headed by women out of 44. What barriers exist to gender equality in politics, and how can they be surmounted?
During Gender and Equal Opportunity, we brought a sheikh who is a professor in Islamic studies, who came and pointed out the verses that support women in government. And the whole Muslim brothers agreed with those verses and chapters of Islam. And so there's no religion that is impeding women. It's just their psyche. It's people go to hide under religion. And I can tell you, even in African traditional religion, you still have some places where women are kings. If the party leaders will insist that in every constituency or in every state, that some constituencies must come up with women, and it's not as if you're looking for women who are so qualified. There are a lot of women who are qualified. And once you get that done, then, because you have a lot of things to gain positively if you have more women in governance.
Beyond politics at the national level, can cultural and religious climes in northern Nigeria be stumbling blocks in the implementation of this policy?
If the presentation is packaged in a very nice, with facts and figures, I know it cannot be rejected in the northern Nigeria. Let me just give you one example. You can talk of equality in the southern Nigeria, but you cannot come to the northern Nigeria thinking that you will talk of equality, gender equality. Then you think that maybe you will scale it to. For you to use equality, it will be on a fairer note to say equity. Let me use the word equity instead of equality. So the word equity is more acceptable in the northern Nigeria than using equality.
Despite the fact that the People's Democratic Party has ensured that it's waiving nomination forms, which is costing about 20 million naira for the women folks, let them just pay the expression of interest, which is just 1 million naira. We have about 7-8 candidates that have purchased the nomination form, the expression of interest, not a single woman. And then in the State House of Assembly, not a single woman is aspiring for office. So I think they are sleeping over their rights. They should come into the process, participate in the process, and play by the rules. And I think that's the only way that this thing can work, and that is the only way they can get what they want. But the roots of the courts and the roots of proclamations of the National Assemblies will not work.
Without doubt, the recent pronouncement by Justice Okoro has been hailed as a landmark ruling. But what realistic impact would it make for women in Nigeria?
The Nigerian ruling class is highly patriarchal. What I probably think they will do is that they will take some symbolic actions. Maybe at the party level by saying, okay, we are going to give 5% or 2%, to women as a first step. But I don't see them implementing it in one fell swoop.
The court's ruling asserts that government is obligated to appoint 35% of women in public offices. Stakeholders expect to see new levels of women appointments in present and subsequent government, as defaulting would mean more legal suits, with government officials risking impeachment or imprisonment. Annetta, Felix, Gist, Nigeria.